Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Soulwise with me, Semele Sherry. First of all, my apologies for not doing a mid-month podcast. I try very much to do that. This time, as I'll explain in a moment, it was a little bit out of my control. So I know I seem to have been saying this for months, if not probably years now, it feels like. But what an intense ride the last few weeks have been. The last week or two especially. How did you experience it, I wonder? I would love to know. I've noticed with clients some incredibly intense experiences, endings, beginnings, unexpected shifts. There's been a lot going on. The full moon in Taurus earlier in the month fell in my 6th house of health, followed not long after by an unprecedented strength and number of solar flares. I've long known how sensitive my body is to the electromagnetic impact of the sun's activity, and I felt the number of X-class solar flares in full force this time. A neck and shoulder issue that has always been a niggle for me, and I usually manage it by regular massage, flared up into thoracic outlet syndrome. That finally got my full attention. As a result, I've made changes to my workstation, sleeping position, exercise routine, and spiritual practice. It was very uncomfortable at times, yet somehow I managed to keep to a busy work schedule too. I totally trust my Otherworld team to move work if I'm really not up to it, and they have done this very regularly in the past. But it seemed to be part of this lesson to turn to them every day for support and help as I continued my service through my weakness. And that's something that's very relevant to this month's guidance, which I'll move on to now. The last guidance, almost, I think it's the penultimate guidance for 2025. So here it is, my spiritual guidance for November, December 2025, covering the lunar month beginning with the Scorpio new moon on November the 20th at 6:47 a.m. That's the timing for the UK, which is where I live, through to December 19th. Every new lunar month, I draw one card from the Thoth Tarot to spark intuitive insight about the key energy to navigate by during the coming 4 weeks. I then take a quick look at the astrology. So here's the guidance, which I'm calling Let There Be Love. The water theme continues this lunar month with the Two of Cups, subtitled disarmingly simply, Love. While last month invited us to notice where love had grown conditional or dulled by familiarity, this card welcomes us into the joy of connection freely given and freely received. We use the word love so casually that it can lose its gravity. Yet the spiritual traditions of the world all point to something far deeper than sentiment or chemistry. They describe a love that perceives no separation, a love that recognizes the other as an extension of the self, a love that is, at its heart, divine. This isn't about romance. It isn't about preference, attachment, or even affection. It's the kind of love that sees through masks, stories, wounds, and roles. It sees essence. And once you see essence, once you see soul, you can't help but respond to the world with a quiet, steady reverence, a love of all life. Myth has whispered this truth for millennia. When Isis gathered the scattered pieces of Osiris, it wasn't just devotion. It was the recognition that what lives in one life echoes through and augments another. When Radha sees Krishna, she sees the divine in playful disguise. These stories and myths don't ask us to imitate the supernatural. They remind us that love at its purest recognizes what is eternal in another being. So this month, the invitation is nothing less than to explore, invite, and recognize unconditional love flowing through the world in an embodied way, not as an idea, but as a lived reality. It's a love of life, all life. I offer some suggestions on how to do this here and some questions to contemplate, but I'm sure you can discover many more. So we begin by looking at presence. In many teachings, love begins with presence, the willingness to meet another being fully without agenda or distraction. Whether it's the Zen practice of just listening, the Christian tradition of contemplative compassion, or the Sufi devotion of beholding the beloved in all faces, the message is the same. Love pays attention. To truly see someone or something is to offer them dignity. To truly hear them is to offer them sanctuary. To behold space without rushing to fix, solve, or advise, or indeed change in any way, is one of the purest forms of love we have. Stories reflect this too. In Buddhist law, Kuan Yin hears the cries of the world because she listens to and witnesses its suffering without turning away. Her compassion is not sentimental. It is a form of deep, unwavering presence. In a world saturated with noise, this kind of presence is medicinal. The question to contemplate is, are you fully present to life? We move now to service. Spiritual love moves into action not from duty or martyrdom, but from recognition that another's well-being is part of your own. Many traditions speak of this as service, not servitude, but sacred reciprocity. The Bhagavad Gita calls it seva, selfless action. Jesus speaks of it as loving your neighbour as yourself. Indigenous teachings frame it as caring for the community and the land as an extension of your own body. In the Navajo Beauty Way, living well means tending the harmony between yourself, your people, and the earth. Service becomes a way of restoring the world's balance. We support, uplift, tend, and help, not because we're trying to be good, but because love naturally expresses itself as nourishment. Love feeds what it values, protects what is vulnerable, and strengthens what is emerging. The question to contemplate here is, where does your heart call you to serve joyfully? We move on to connection, collaboration, and interdependence. One of the keys, I think, for our future thriving. At a spiritual level, love is the recognition that nothing exists in isolation. Buddhism calls this interbeing, perhaps one of my favourite words. Kabbalah calls it the unbroken unity of creation. Myth reveals it again and again through cosmic pairs whose union keeps the world in balance, like the Sky Father and Earth Mother, whose embrace brings forth life. To love unconditionally is to live from that awareness that your words ripple, your actions resonate, and your inner state vibrates into the field we all share. You're not one small life moving alone through the world. You are a node in a vast web of being. As you serve and support others in that web, so the web supports and holds you. So contemplate here, how easily do you collaborate and reach out for help, or do you tend to rely only on yourself? Moving now to self-love. Unconditional doesn't mean unguarded or boundaryless. Real love includes clarity. It knows when to say no, so that something deeper can flourish. It refuses to enable harm to self as well as other. It honours your energy as sacred, not endlessly available. Many traditions speak of this as right relationship. This is compassion that stays compassionate even when it's being firm. The gods model this in myth. Isis, among many other goddesses, protects and loves, and she also sets limits when truth or integrity is at stake. Boundaries become part of sacred order. The question to contemplate here is, do you extend love to yourself as much as to others? We turn now to the other than human world. Every spiritual tradition eventually widens the circle of love beyond humans, and thank goodness for that, to include the trees that breathe life into us, the animals who walk beside us, the waters that nourish us all, the stars that shaped our bones. This is where love becomes cosmic, a recognition that everything is animate with the same spark we carry. In loving the world, all of it, we love ourselves more fully. Myths in many cultures and fairy tales encode this wider kinship. Animals speak, rivers bless, mountains hold wisdom. The world isn't a backdrop to the human experience, but a family of beings woven from the same luminous thread. So think about, how do you feel and foster your relationship with the other than human world? Turning now to responsibility in love. Unconditional love doesn't ask you to float through the world in blissful detachment. It calls you to act, to embody the truth that the whole is strengthened when each part is honoured. This means checking your personal desires against the well-being of the wider field, choosing what contributes to harmony over what gratifies in the moment. It means recognising that me cannot flourish without we. And this isn't sacrifice. This is alignment with the deeper order of things, the place where your joy and the world's joy meet each other. It's belonging. So contemplate here, where do you make personal changes in your life to benefit the whole? And we look now at trust in the cosmos. And this is perhaps one of the most important considerations in our culture In our overwhelmingly individualist modern culture, one of the quiet revolutions on the spiritual paths is recognizing that the cosmos is for you, not against you. The Tao supports all that flows in harmony with it. The Great Mother nurtures what seeks to grow. The quantum field responds to coherence and clarity of intention. Astrology reminds us we're woven into a great cosmic pattern, rhythm, and intelligence. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking, it's a lived experience once you attune to it. Even when life feels uncertain or disordered, you're not being punished, you're being shaped, taught, redirected, expanded. You're being called into alignment with a life that fits you, the whole and holy you, more truthfully. When you trust that the universe is collaborative rather than adversarial, something in you softens. You stop fighting what's unfolding. You begin listening for guidance, and life starts to co-create with you. An activist for change or a seeker of spiritual development or well-being can easily become exhausted and burnt out without this trust. It's one of the deepest expressions of love, to trust and accept the benevolent perfection of the way things are. Allow yourself to be held by the great mystery that holds us all. Remember to call on the earth, the stars, the gods and goddesses, life itself to help you, and know that you will be held. The question for you here is, do you truly trust the cosmos and life? And if this all sounds wonderful and impossibly idealistic, it's because slowly over millennia we've forgotten. We've moved far away from this truth and towards its shadow, fear. Start right now, where you are and exactly as you are. Begin with whoever and whatever is easiest to love, and let that soften you into embodying this deeper love wherever life places you. As you give, you open yourself to receive this same love in return from all that is. It's never a one-way thing. Everything you've walked through, the cleansing, the clearing, the surrendering, all up till now has been preparing your heart to love in this way. You chose to be born and be shaped for this time and this task. You're remembering how to love and to trust that all that is responds in love with all that you need to do so. So we take a quick look at the astrology now. The powerful Scorpio new moon on the 20th of November offers the potential to kickstart impactful new developments. Any ventures that reflect new values and ideals in their systems and structures in response to social needs should do well. Luck is blessing the generous, responsible, and disciplined. Mercury, retrograde in Scorpio, meets Venus there on the 25th, singing aloud the blessings of the gods available for many, particularly those who acknowledge the joys and duties of caring for family, both personal and collective. The stars spell the words collective and holistic. We may regret the past, but we must have faith in the future now. The full supermoon in Gemini on the 4th of December will illuminate any misjudgments and deceptions, so you can look clearly at the options in front of you. Between the 6th and 8th, Mercury brings heightened depth, imagination, and wisdom to our minds as it connects to the trine between Saturn and Jupiter. When Mars moves into Capricorn on the 15th, it assists the Sun to intensify discipline, constructive It assists the sun to intensify disciplined, constructive work. Possibilities need testing if they're to become probabilities. So there you have it. Love is the way forward. Love is the answer to all questions. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it is challenging to live. And yet we can. And yet we do know how to do it. So I invite you now to subscribe if you've enjoyed this podcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sign up to my Substack newsletter. And I hope that you'll continue to listen and share your journey with me. So for now, I leave you as always, sending you my love and blessings. Take very good care of yourself. Take very good care of those you love. And seek help and support when you need it. I'll put a link in the description to my Work With Me page on my website. I'm here if you need to reach out. Until next time, goodbye for now.